Alright, so here we are again. I know it's been a while. Back with another book review. It's been 3 months since I finished this book, but I've been busy. But I knew I had to get to it. This is a great book. This is a really great book. And if y'all don't know who A.G. Gaston is, y'all need to do y'all history researches. Not only that, this guy's a legend. Not just in the South, but the whole world, especially in the United States. But this guy's a legend. The making of a Black Titan. Black Titan. So this guy right here had made no excuses. Grew up in the South, very segregated. Grew up in I think he was born in the late 1800s. This guy went through all the racism, all the segregation, all the disadvantages that he used to his advantage. And that's the phrase thing. A lot of people are gonna cry and boo-hoo and all this stuff and use that as a reason to not want to be better. But obviously there's systems put in place because they fear what this man did. I don't want to give away too much, but basically this guy got into the funeral business in insurance when the United States was denying that to black people. So he decided to get into that, made him become a millionaire. This guy also, he funded a lot for the civil rights movements. He had his own hotels. If y'all know what green books are, he had his own hotels. He had his own bus company. He started a soda company that lasted a little bit, but that's one of his endeavors that didn't really last long. But this guy is successful, worth a bunch of money, a bunch of money. Like I said, I don't want to give too much away, but basically, he's a millionaire. And this guy is very historical when it comes to the civil rights movement. A lot of people do not bring his name up, but he is pivotal in that. And he also got attacks. He got people tried to assassinate his character. And they tried to say that he was funding things that he wasn't funding, or people. He even said in the book that the main people that were chastising him were his own people. It's crazy how that works. But one thing I can really say about this book, which those are his descendants right there that played a big role in writing this book. He also has an autobiography. I haven't had my chance to get to it yet, but the thing about this guy in this book, out of all the books that I've read, this book with the vocabulary is extensive. There were so many words. I'm writing that down. I got to look at the meaning of that. I'm writing this down. I'm going to use this word. There's so many words to this book. This guy grew up in Alabama. Oh, he also talks about Tuskegee, the Tuggle Institute. Frederick Douglass is mentioned in here. Martin Luther King is mentioned. Who else was mentioned in this book? He was also in the military. That's the crazy thing that intrigued me as well, is the fact that he was actually stationed at Fort Riley, Kansas, which is right outside of my hometown, which that's very pivotal. But in one part of the book, it said that black inventions and inventors were purposely left out of the Chicago Fair. And back in the day, they would have a fair with all these conventions of inventors to display their talents and their mindset and their skill. And the black people were purposely left out of this. We're not told about it, or they hiked the prices up to keep them out of it, which is ridiculous. It's crazy to think that this stuff happened back then and you want to be in the United States, but yet you're segregating your own people that are considered citizens of the United States. But yet you want us to all come together and feel like we're all one when there's a big war going on, or a threat. It's crazy. And there are various black American inventors. But that's something you got to do your own independent research on, because for some reason in the American public system, they want to undermine a lot of the great advancements that black people have contributed to this country. Labor and slave work made millions for people, but the workers didn't. Yeah, the black workers were put in some of the most brutal working conditions. Some of them, they put insurance and policies on their workers, which they still do today. But a lot of these coal miners or these imprisoned slaves didn't even make it to live long. And back then, they mentioned in this book too, working on the trains and the railroad was a great job to have back then. What else? Outside of the South, there were many successful black professionals. Yes. 1880 statistics on, what does that say? literacy of blacks and whites in the South. Okay, sorry, my handwriting's small sometimes. Tuggle's beliefs that creates criminals. They talk about the black belt of the South. Oh, paying for a person's death is the third most expensive American payment. Did you know that? That is crazy. Franklin D. Roosevelt, very racist president. They talk about some of the things that he did, and the government and the KKK coming back. See, and that's the phrasing thing. You hear a lot of people complain about the conditions that we go through now, but it's like this guy had all of it when it was blatantly out there. Like, we know this stuff is still going on, but this was blatantly out there. Like, we do not want you here. We do not want you around here. But guess what? He decided not to let that stop him. This guy joined the military, decided to go into business for himself. He went through a lot of adversity. And before he passed away, I believe he donated a bunch of his money too. When he sold one of his businesses, and A.G. Gaston, his house was bombed in 1963 and was kidnapped in 1976. The adversity him and his wife went through. There were bombings all over the South. We just hear about that one church in Alabama. There were bombings all over the South due to racial discrimination and racial tension. 2 bombs were thrown in Gaston's home, and A.G. Gaston lived to be 103 years old and passed away from a stroke. Lived to be 103 years old. Imagine the stories this guy had. This is just one book. Then he has autobiography, but still, the experiences this guy went through, and how many people could learn from that. That's the greatest thing, is that you've got to learn from adversity. Stop making excuses. We're all going to go through tough times, but man, the stuff that these guys went through back then has nothing to do compared to what we're doing now. There should be no excuses. This guy's a black titan, black American millionaire, did not discriminate against anybody, no matter how badly they treated him. But he always wanted to support his people. And he also put money in great causes, traveled the world, met with the presidents at the White House. This guy was highly respected, but also hated as well. And that's just some of the things that you're going to go through when it comes to being successful. A.G. Gaston, Black Titan, you guys got to check this book out. It's a great read. Let me see how many pages this was. And like I said, the vocabulary is extensive. It's very great. But you got over 300 pages of learning from a person that made no excuses, that worked hard, worked as hard as anybody could be, and to make so much money to where he could benefit these causes behind the scenes. It's amazing. A.G. Gaston, Black Titan. Now on to the next book. I'm out of here.